Hello, all you beautiful, wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people. I'm jumping in for a live stream before I get on a plane in the next couple days to go to North America, to go to Canada, to go to. There are now two people in my family that can say the name of the town where we're going, of course, Guelph in southern Ontario, and then we'll go up to Manitoulin Island, which is easier to say. And here today, I am going to drink some of this white tea. So you can see it's a crazy, well, let's see. Okay, there you go. So green jade white tea. You can see sort of how much it costs even here. Um, and if anybody, I guess, wants to get it, then let me know. I will sample this out. Am I going to get it or not? I don't know. It's a pretty decent price for a Taiwanese white tea. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try it out and we'll see how it goes. And anyways, it's a pretty interesting tea. And over here, of course, I've got the Jade Mountain GABA, which is going to go into the whole deal of what's going on for this summer. Now, hopefully, you can hear me over top of the screaming banshees that are the cicadas. When I listen back to this, maybe you'll be able to hear me. Maybe you won't be able to hear me. I can't really. I mean, they're going down a little bit. I mean, what's worse? The screaming banshee cicadas or the F-16s. I actually do kind of live in the country. It's not that it's not that bad. Now we're going to see how long this lasts as well, because I am it's the summertime and we are right now in the deep, 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 crazy summertime of Taiwan. And so, when I was doing live streams sort of earlier, and I would say, oh, I don't know whether I'm going to be doing these live streams in the summertime because, it's going to be so hot. Now it's that hot. And the way I always describe it to people is, I grew up in Canada, and sometimes it'd be every year in the middle of the wintertime, there'd be a couple times that would be like, it'd be so hot or so cold. Sorry, you'd have to go in between. You have to run around and go in between heating places that are heated, and it's exactly the same here in Taiwan in the summertime. It's exactly the same here in Taiwan in the summertime. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And so we're getting into that right now. So the last sort of, I don't know, last 4 or 5 days has just been just insane. It's just been insane. But what's happening over the summertime? So I and my family will not be in Taiwan. We will be going. Ouch! Excuse me. I have not been using Gaiwans for a while. So usually here on your fingers, right here, you can see where I sort of burned my finger right there. Usually that's a big callus when I'm heavy into it, but mostly I've been drinking teas like this. So I apologize for burning my finger there on the live stream. But actually, I'm going to put it in this cup. I like this cup better as I burn myself here. Anyways, I will not be in Taiwan. My family will not be in Taiwan. So the question, of course, is who's going to send out the tea? Happens to all of us. Well, yes, that's the that's the thing. And you can see I overfilled it because it's white tea. Anyways, I can make excuses, but the point is I haven't been using the Gaiwan for a while, so the calluses are not that good. So we'll talk about this tea in a second. Probably not going to get it, but it's a decent tea. Anyways, going back to North America. So who's going back to North America? My whole family. And so who's left here in Hualien? Well, Jojo is. And Jojo is my wife's brother. Jojo is left here in Hualien, and he's going to be doing all of the teas, right? So he's going to be doing all the teas. So Jojo is my wife's younger brother. And so he has thankfully said, okay, so I've been teaching him how to do sort of the teas the last little while. Now, not all the teas are going to be available. Some of the teas, the harder teas to pack, I'm going to take off the site for the next 4 weeks or so. And then I'll put them back up when we get back. Well, actually, I'll put them back up probably about 4 or 5 days before we get back. But all the classics are still going to be there, right? So all the oolongs are still going to be up on the site. But I've taken off some of the, again, harder to pack teas. And so the things that will happen, there will be less, usually I get out tea within 48 hours. So order comes in, 48 hours, teas are out again. And so I probably will have the teas. It probably won't be that fast, but within maybe 3 business days, I guess. Other than that, everything's exactly the same. Everything is going to be exactly the same, nothing special. And yeah, I'm going back to North America. So as you can probably tell, I'm a little flustered, as you can imagine, going on a, like, I'm not, I don't work in an office. Well, no, I don't work in an office anyways, unless you count my warehouse room as an office. And so getting ready to go, it's not like I can just put it up on the shelf and go, I got to get everything done, everything. But I think it's really, really close. So on Wednesday we leave, we go up to Taipei for a couple days or for a day, and then we hop on the plane to go. But in the chats for this now or in the future, if you have any questions about what's going to happen for July, just let me know. There's been a couple people, just amazing people that have gotten in touch and have been sort of like, you're coming there. No, let's meet up and have some tea, which to me is quite surprising. As some random guy who just sort of looks at himself in his phone. But when I go back to North America, hopefully I can meet up some people and drink some tea. And what was I going to say? Yeah, so if anybody, the one in Toronto probably might be a little bit tough, but who knows? Anyways, what I'm going to do is once I get back to Canada and have everything set up, then I'll be able to sort of do all the stuff that I need to do. How long will you be in North America? About 3.5, 4 weeks. About 3.5, 4 weeks, give or take. And it will be the first time in many, many years. First time in many a moon to go back to North America. And it's important to go back and let my children sort of see where I grew up and sort of what's going on in that area of the world. But it's funny because I've got to talk with my boys about just sort of general safety and things like that, because here in Taiwan we don't really have to worry about it in general. I mean, we don't even lock our car doors. Like it's just not really a big thing. So that's going to be it's going to be a big deal for the family to go back. It's going to be a big deal for the family to go back. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But we will bring a bunch of tea. And I'm honestly thinking about how to maybe I can sell tea when I'm there, like just go to a park and set up a thing that says, like try Taiwanese tea. I don't know. I might try to do something like that. The problem is, of course, is that the places where I'm going, the populations are not that high. So we're not going to High Park in Toronto or, one of these places with high population densities. We're going to these places that are, like going to Manitoulin Island, which is this massive island that takes like 2.5 hours to drive across. And, there's maybe 10,000 people who live on the whole thing, maybe 10, maybe. 10,000 people who live on the whole thing, um, which is very different than Asia, which is very, very different than Asia. So, what is this tea that I'm drinking? So, this is the green jade white tea. And you can sort of see actually the price if you buy a bunch of it. And um, well, you can take a look. Now, people who are white tea fanatics, you'll see here in the processing that this is sort of a, what's the best way to describe it? It's not a typical white tea. It has been manipulated a little bit, or not typical. No, this is pretty typical. This is it's a white tea that has been laid, but it's also been manipulated a little bit. Now, the teas that are white teas that have not been. Can you guys actually hear me? I mean, it's like the cicadas are they're just so loud. They're just so loud. I'm gonna have to listen back to this and see whether it's even listenable. Um, anyway, so this is it's a beautiful organic white tea, but I probably will not be buying it. And the reason that I won't be buying it is because it just isn't special enough, I guess is the way to describe it. Wow. My fingers from not having done Gaiwans for a while they're soft. They're not calloused. It's embarrassing. It really is. It's embarrassing. It's it's embarrassing. I can't even use a Gaiwan anymore. It's I've just been using these to do to do taste testing the whole time. Um, but anyways, I won't be getting this tea. And the reason I won't be getting this tea is because it is a decent price, a decent tea. It's certified organic. It's a clean tea. But the problem is that it's not. It's not special enough. Now, this cultivar is the number 13 cultivar, so the green jade cultivar, the Cui Yu cultivar. And it's a really nice tea. Like it's really nice, but it's not that special enough to be able to bring it into the site to be able to say this tea is different than other white teas because it's kind of not. And right now there's only a couple white teas on the site. One is the hybrid white, Ruby 18 hybrid white, which is a really special tea. It's really unique. And then the other one is just the classic white tea. Actually, there's another one. There's still a little bit of the snow mist white, but I've taken that off the site because it's too hard for Jojo to pack that one up. But it'll be back on the site in 4 weeks. And then there's the Sanxiao white, which is just the best all around white tea. It's hard to bring in sort of these styles of tea when there's the Sanxiao white. And the Sanxiao white gives you the sort of the same taste experience, but sort of better, I guess you could say. I mean, this one's, I guess, a little bit cheaper, but still. But you know what the secret is? You know why there's not a lot of white tea in the hipster tea world? The secret? Well, it's a double-sided secret. One, it's a pain in the ass to put in bags. It is such a pain to put in bags. So, for example, my boys, they work. So they are actually one of them is working right now. They are 11 and 9, and so they work packing tea. So they work packing tea, and they refuse to do white teas because it's just like it's such a pain. And they get paid by the hour, but they just don't want to do it. It's just too much of a pain for them. And fair enough, it is. It is. And so the second thing is the volume of white tea is massive. So 10 grams of white tea is like this much. 10 grams of oolong is like this much. So when you ship it, you are automatically paying a lot more money. And it's a pain in the ass to get into the boxes and all that. When you ship it, it's much more expensive because you pay for volume. You don't pay for, you pay for volume. You don't pay for, sorry, little sweat in the eyes there. You pay for volume. You don't pay for weight. And so the white tea is just so inefficient when you're shipping teas. And so that's why you don't see a lot of white tea. Also, too, white tea went through a big fad phase about, I guess, about 4 years ago now. And that's gone on the wane. So that's way down now. And so you don't really have that issue with teas, with white teas. There's not very many white teas because they're actually really hard to make. They really are. They're quite hard to make. But yeah, if anybody wants, you saw the price. You got to buy like a lot for that price. But if anybody's interested in this white tea, then let me know and I can get it for you. And yeah, I think that's about it. So for the next, starting basically today, there's going to be fewer teas on the website for sale. Then the second part of that will be they will be sent out a little bit slower than usual. So usually it's within like a business day. Oftentimes, somebody will do put in an order at nighttime for their time, and I'll just be in the middle of my day, and so I'll just pack it up and send it out within half an hour. So usually I don't put the numbers in right away because I've had lots of problems with people not realizing that I sent it out like that and being like, when are you sending out my tea? I'm like, I sent it out within 30 minutes of you ordering. You just didn't read the email because you thought it was just a confirmation email of your order. So I usually just wait a day and then send out the numbers as well. And so, but it'll probably be now like maybe 3 days, something like that. And if there's any delay over 3 days, then I'll send you an email and let you know. And everybody who orders is going to get samples of unreleased teas. So, for example, this one, which is the Jade Mountain, there's 3 main ones that you're going to get samples of, depending on obviously how much you buy. There is the Jade Mountain GABA, which is this right here, which I'll talk about in a second. There is the this year's 3 shades of Bashien, which is not quite as oolongy as last year, or a little bit more oolongy, not quite as a white tea as last year, a little bit more higher oxidized. And then the third one is the Snow Pick Charcoal Roast. So there was a Snow Pick tea that got charcoal roasted, and so that's a pretty interesting tea. And so those will be the samples of unreleased teas. Anybody who orders anything, you're going to get versions of those samples. And yeah, that's about it. I might do a live stream tomorrow, but you can certainly tell with the YouTube, it is hot. It is really, really hot. And I don't know, maybe you can't even hear me from all the cicadas. I got to listen back to these and see if you can even hear me from the cicadas. And if you are anywhere near Guelph and want to meet up for tea, then perhaps we can set up a time for that. Which reminds me, I got so many emails I have to go and write. Leaving for a month is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but gave me an excuse to buy some new clothes, and I got like a fancy travel pack, and did a whole bunch of stuff. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go back to North America for a while. And again, I'm sweating, but thankfully the equipment hasn't overheated. I have a little bit, but it's time for me to go back into the air conditioning. Anyways, Less teas for the month of July on the site. Hey, how's it going? Less teas on the site for the month of July, mostly just oolongs and black teas. Then it'll be a little bit longer for them to be shipped out. And yeah, I'll be doing live streams beside a beautiful lake on Manitoulin Island within about a week or so after the jet lag. But, anyways, thank you, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I certainly hope you have an amazing morning, night, evening, and sleep well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next live stream.